A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Continuing with the Tafsir of Surah Mulk, ayahs number 21 to 24, inshallah. Ayah number 21 is Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Amman hazal lazi yarzuqukum in amsaka rizqahu bal lajju fi atuwim wa nafur. Translation: Or is there any that could provide you with sustenance if he should withhold his provision from you? Nay, but they stubbornly persist in their arrogance and in their headlong flight or aversion from him. So the first part of the ayah is Amman hazal lazi yarzuqukum in amsaka rizqahu. Allah says, is there anyone who could provide you with sustenance, with rizq, if Allah would withhold his provisions? This rizq does not mean just food, but food is an important aspect of it. So our nutrition is an important aspect of it. Rizq in Arabic means provision. So everything that Allah has provided, food and water included, is rizq. The importance is, in Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentions it again and again and again, that it is a great blessing of Allah that human beings are provided everything which is essential to their existence and their growth, no matter to where they are in the world. So if they are in the ice-clad North Pole, or if they are in the Sahara Desert, or if they are in the tropical forests, everywhere they get each and every essential ingredient of nutrition which they need to survive. And these essential ingredients are not just proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. There are micronutrients in there. There are vitamins and minerals, which are very rare. For example, iron and zinc and magnesium and phosphate and sodium and potassium and chloride and calcium. All these things are not easy to find everywhere in the world. You don't have deposits of magnesium and zinc and iron available everywhere. Yet, when it comes to the human nutrition and diet, and the diet and nutrition of all other creatures, Allah Ta'ala provides each and every one of these in the right amount which is needed for them to survive. And this by itself is a miracle. And Allah says, if I withhold these provisions, what can you do? It's very easy to withhold them. They would be there, but He can withhold them. And how would He do? If you lose the ability to absorb them. They're available all around, but when you take your food, you lose the ability to absorb any one of these important nutrients. You can't survive. And the second part of the ayah, Allah says, "Bal lajju atuwim wa nafur." Yet, after all of this, these people, they stubbornly persist in their arrogance and in their aversion from God. So the three words used here is lajju, atuwin, and nafur. Lajju means to persist, and it is persisting stubbornly in an extreme argument. So if you are having an argument, you explode and you're stubborn and you shout and you scream and you're not going to hear anything of reason. That is known as lajju. So Allah Ta'ala says that these people, even when you give them these signs and you give them these evidences, they stubbornly persist on the one-point agenda they have of denying the truth, and they refuse to budge from it. The second part is, what are they persisting in? They're persisting in atuwin. Atu is arrogance, rebellion, pride. But most importantly, it is crossing the limits in arrogance. So if you have an arrogant behavior and you are willing to cross all limits, you do not recognize any limits, that is known as atu. And this is like sort of a fighting or aggressive attitude. And nafur is running away in aversion. So when you have hatred for something, so much so that you run away from it, you have aversion for something, that is known as nafur or nafra. So this is a flight mechanism. So what Allah is saying here is that they are stubbornly either fighting or running away. So when they are given the evidences of existence of God and the message of God, they are so stubborn, they either stand and fight without any reason, and they are not listening to logic. They are exploding in argument, they're extreme in their argument, they would not listen to reasoning, or they run away with aversion and hatred. And what kind of behavior is this? Is this a behavior becoming of a human being? The next ayah is going to address that. So the next ayah says, أَفَمَنْ يَمْشِي مُكِبًّا عَلَى وَجْهِهِ أَهْدَى أَمَّنْ يَمْشِي سَوِيًّا عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. But then is he who goes along with his face close to the ground better guided than that walks upright on a straight path? In this, Allah Ta'ala is describing two types of creatures. So one type is the creature which walks upright, straight, on a straight path. The only creature made by Allah on this planet who can walk upright is human beings. All other creatures, they are not able to walk upright. This is one distinction we have. And if anyone even comes from outer space and looks at this planet, they're going to spot the human being first and say, this species, this creature is different from all others. It walks upright. There are other creatures which can stand up on 2 feet. Monkeys do that, and bears do that, and meerkats do that. But that's only for a brief period of time. Very soon, they are down on their face. So the second kind of creature Allah is describing is all the other creation and species who walk along with their face close to the ground. There are various degrees of having the face close to the ground. Earthworms will have it on the ground, almost on the ground. Snakes will have it very close to the ground. Horses and cows and monkeys and bears and meerkats, they would have it a bit above from the ground, but they're all looking down. So that is firstly the description, how Allah has made human beings very different from other creatures. The second thing is, there is a deeper meaning to it, that people who are having, or creatures who are having, their face down towards the ground. What are they doing? They're focused on the here and now. So their focus is on the immediate task, on the path which they're following. There's no overview. There is no wider sight. And they're just going from day to day survival. And Allah is saying, this is the difference between the human beings and the other creatures. The most important difference is, any animal who's been on this planet for tens of millions or hundreds of millions of years, they wake up in the morning, they go out looking for food, they have food. If they get a chance, they reproduce, they come back and they sleep. They wake up the next day, food, survival, reproduction, if possible, go back to sleep. What are they doing? They have got a narrow focus. The whole purpose of their life is to exist, to live and survive. Human beings are very different from it. Human beings don't just survive. They plan, they investigate, they explore, they make new things, they make houses, they make cars, roads, aeroplanes, and submarines. They go into space, they have technology, they have mobile phones. How is it all possible for human beings? Why have other animals not achieved it? And why has human beings achieved this over thousands of years? One big difference: provisions, rizq from Allah. All other animals every day have to go out looking for food. Human beings, Allah has taught them the skill of agriculture. We can grow food and store it for years. You can have years of provisions available. You can store the grain and then you're free. You have the luxury of time. And where did it all come from? This is all from Allah. Amman hazal lazi yarzuqukum. Allah is the one who taught you this method of getting the food. And look at the human societies who do not have this ability of storing the food. What do? If you look at the primitive tribes, like in the Brazilian rainforest or the Aborigines of Australia or Papua New Guinea, the tribes living in the jungles, or if you look at the pygmies in the African tropical jungles, their existence is very same. every day go out looking for food, hunter-gatherers, and come back. And they have not made any civilization, and they have not made houses or cars or aeroplanes. Why? Because their focus is narrow on survival only. So Allah says, I have given you intellect. You have to use it. The purpose of that intellect is not only to make your life better, but also to understand the purpose of your life and to understand the life hereafter. If you're not going to use that intellect, what is going to happen? You are going to have a survival, a spiritual survival, like any other animal. Like the ones who have got very narrow focus. Yamshi mukibban ala wajhihi, who go through life looking down just on the path and just on the here and the now. Now, at this point, a question arises. How has Allah made us different? What are the qualities that we have that those animals don't have? They have the same qualities, don't they? They have many of the capabilities that we have. So how has God made us different, that He has different expectations from us? And subhanAllah, the next ayah, Allah is answering the very same question. Kul huwallazi ansha'akum wa ja'ala lakumus sama wal absara wal af'ida qalilan ma tashkurun. Say, God is He who has brought you all into being and has endowed you with hearing and sights and passionate hearts. Yet how seldom are you grateful? So 4 things Allah has talked about. Number 1, ansha'akum, bringing you into being. But ansha'a means to make you youthful and to make you grow, to enable someone to rise and mature. It's not just khalakakum. Khalakakum is to create. This is ansha'akum. Allah says that He has made human beings grow, youthful and strong. So strong are we that we now control the whole planet. There's no creature on the planet which can compete with us. And look at us. We've got nothing. We've got no claws. We've got no sharp teeth. We can't run like a cheetah. We can't climb rocks and trees like monkeys. Yet we are controlling everything in this planet. We are not like a lion or a tiger. We are not like a leopard or an elephant. We are not like the sharks. Yet even we are controlling the seas. We are controlling the land. We are controlling the air. Is it our qualities? No. It is a blessing of Allah that such a weak creature, which would normally be walking drumsticks of food for any other carnivorous, Allah has given us ansha'akum, strength, youth, growth, maturity, and ability to rise above all the other species. And how did He make us achieve those things? 3 qualities He's given us. Sama, which means ability to hear. Well, many animals have the ability to hear, fine. Absar, which means ability to see, sights. Now, basar is single, to see. Absar means plural, ability to see in a plural sense. And there's an importance to it. Sama, Allah says one, singular, ability to hear. But absar, He gives the plural, the power of seeing in multitude. We all human beings hear the same thing. If you hear a sound, we all hear the same. But every one of us sees differently. Depends on where you're standing. Your angle of vision is different. And every incident in life, we perceive it differently. And perception is basira. Insight is basira. So Allah Ta'ala is describing that your hearing is the same, but the way you see things is different for every one of you. And the third thing, I was expecting Allah would talk about intelligence. But Allah says no. The third thing He wants to mention is al-af'ida, which means a passionate heart. Now, fawad is something like a roasted piece of meat. So when you have a piece of meat and you barbecue it, it's roasted, it's called fawad. So normal emotions are not fawad. And normal heart is not fawad. A normal heart in Arabic is known as qalb. But fawad is a highly emotional heart, a passionate heart, when you have a passion for something. So it's a combination of these three things: the ability to hear, the ability to see and then see by different perceptions among different people, and the passionate heart, which makes us such a supreme creature compared to all the other creatures on this planet. How does a passionate heart affect? Now, I'll give you one simple example. Tens of thousands of years ago, human beings were on land and they were living, and some human beings looked up to the sky, they saw the birds flying, and they had a very stupid idea. One of the most impractical, dumb, impossible ideas. They wished to fly. There's no way human beings could fly. They have no wings. They've got no capabilities. They can't even run fast enough. They can't even dive deep into the water. And they are not made to fly. I mean, dinosaurs stayed for hundreds of millions of years. They did not fly. But human beings had this quality of a passionate heart. And they had the quality to listen and to see and have different perceptions. So they started to make observations, and information was exchanged from one generation to another within the same generation, and they had a passion that we want to fly, and one day we are going to fly. Over thousands of years, people tried many things. They tried gliders, they tried wings, and eventually, with that passionate heart, they achieved flight. And within 100 years of the Wright brothers making the first aeroplane, humans were flying like no creature has ever flown. We were sitting in these cabins made of metal on seats with tables in front of us and food and TV playing and music blaring out of the stereos and flying at 30, 40,000 feet. And the birds, which have been there for millions of years, at least 66, 67 million years they've been around, they would be looking at us and saying like, wow, look at that. That's flying with style. We didn't achieve it. We are the creatures which are supposed to fly. But we've never achieved it the way these creatures have achieved. And this is the passionate heart Allah is talking about. The passion which makes the impossible possible. And that passion is only among the human beings. We are the only one who are endowed with it, not the other creatures. And the next part, قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. How seldom are you grateful? What an irony that just a passionate heart can make one of the weakest creatures on this planet the strongest being ever. Within a span of few hundred years, we have achieved in technology which nobody's been able to achieve for millions of years. And how little grateful we are to Allah. And the next step in the human evolution and in our history, Allah is describing the next ayah. قُلْ هُوَ الَّذِي زَرَعَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. Say, it is He who has multiplied you in earth, and it is unto Him that you shall be gathered. The word zara'akum means to be dispersed all over the earth. But it also means to be established. Like when you plant something into the ground, you sow something into the earth, that is known as zara. Like zara'a means agriculture. And it also means to get old and withered. So Allah is saying that I not only gave you the power, I not only made you ansha'akum, that I gave you power and I made you strong and youthful, but then I established you, and we are established from the North Pole to the South Pole, all across the globe, in every part of the globe, on water, in air, on land, we are established. But one thing to remember, وَإِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. We are going to be gathered together, assembled, brought back to Him. Now, hashar is being herded. The animals are herded. For human beings, usually, the word is jama. When you collect human beings, it is to collect them, and the word used is jama. They come together. Animals are herded, hashar. Allah says on the day of judgment, I'm going to herd you. I'm going to bring you together, whether you like it or not. Animals are brought together, whether they are willing to do it or not. That's what the shepherd does. When he herds the animals, he just brings them on. He has got a shepherd dog, he's got a stick. He's going to bring them together, whether they like it or not. And on the day of judgment, Allah says, whether you like it or not, whether you're a believer or non-believer, you will all be herded together and you will come back to Allah. Inshallah ta'ala, next Friday we will complete the rest of the ayahs and inshallah complete the tafsir of Surah Mulk. Jazakallah khair for listening. Please remember everyone in your prayers. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.